Just watch
Don't
Amber.
say anything, just pretend.
Alright, so here I have some pictures. Measles, diphtheria, polio. These are just a few examples of diseases that most of you have probably never seen and might possibly know a little about. Currently, I am a student at BYU, Idaho, where I'm enrolled in classes that are helping prepare me for the dental hygiene program that will begin in the fall at UVU. So, health and hygiene are two things that are very important to me. One of the classes that I'm enrolled in is sociology class, which has been a little fun. We recently had the opportunity to watch a 1-hour segment on vaccinations, which I found to be very interesting, and since then I have been researching more on the topic. Breakthroughs in science with vaccinations have provided us ways to save our children from great pain and suffering, and possibly even death. You yourself are either currently a parent, or you are preparing for parenthood, or you know someone close to you that is going through parenthood. Being informed on reasons for vaccinating children will help save and protect your own children as well as those around you. Today we are going to talk about how vaccines help save lives, what the term the herd means and how it applies to you, and side effects and worries of getting vaccinated. So we have 3 points, and the first point we're going to discuss is having your children vaccinated could help save their life. Today we have new generations of parents that haven't seen a time without vaccinations, and excuse me. And since we no longer have these diseases present, some don't understand the risks of not being vaccinated. In the video that I watched, it showed a few mothers in a town where not vaccinating is kind of becoming a trend. And to back up her point, the mother shared that our last case of polio in the United States was over 20 years ago. And she followed by saying, "When are we going to stop vaccinating for this disease?" Which I found a little funny, because why do you think we no longer have these cases? It's because vaccinations work. Vaccines.gov tells us that polio was once America's most feared disease, spreading death and paralysis across the country. But today, thanks to vaccinations, we no longer have reports of polio in the United States. In a quote from Jimmy Kimmel, it says that parents today are more scared of gluten than they are of smallpox, which I found a little comical, but has some truth to it. The American Academy of Pediatrics on procon.org said that vaccines are necessary. In many parts of the world, vaccine-preventable diseases are still common. Since diseases may be brought into the United States by Americans who travel abroad or from people visiting areas with current disease outbreaks, it's important to vaccinate your children. In December 2014, we had a measles outbreak at Disneyland, which spread to more than 100 people at different states. This is just one of the many examples, more than we'd like to see examples of these diseases being outbroken. The way to keep these outbreaks from happening is by getting as many people as possible vaccinated. This also helps us protect the herd, which brings us to our next point. What exactly is the herd? Sorry, my voice. And why should it matter to each of you? Excuse me. Community immunity, or herd immunity, is when a critical portion of a community is immunized against that disease. Most members of the community are protected against that disease because there is little opportunity for an outbreak. Even those who are not eligible for certain vaccinations, such as infants, pregnant women, or people with weakened immune systems, such as those that are dealing with cancer or other diseases like that, can get some protection because the spread is contained. Public health officials say that outbreaks, such as the example of Disneyland that I shared, is an example of poor herd immunity, meaning that it possibly could have been prevented had more people in the area been vaccinated. The way that people are getting around getting vaccinated is through personal beliefs or religious exemptions. I want to share with you quickly a story of a young boy that I've learned about whose name is Rhett. Rhett is 7 years old and he has been dealing with leukemia most of his life. He's gone through over 50 surgeries where the treatment wipes out his immune system. He has been pretty much pulled out of society, and he is very excited for the opportunity that he has coming up to attend kindergarten, to be able to make friends and socialize with other kids. His parents are also very excited, but they're also very nervous. And not until a year into his remission can Rhett get these vaccinations. And so until then, he depends on herd immunity to protect his life until he can get his shots. Choosing not to have your child immunized for personal or religious beliefs is putting other children at risk than your own, who cannot have these shots for themselves. So, why is it that an increasing amount of parents are apprehensive and worried about being vaccinated? What are the risks and side effects of vaccinations? Which brings us to our last point. The side effects, honestly, are very mild. Of course, redness or soreness from the shot, which can be expected or anticipated with any shot that you may receive, could be a possibility, as well as a very, very small percentage who may experience an allergic reaction from something that they were unaware that they were allergic to. When Googling reasons to not have your children vaccinated, I had to scroll through the first at least 8 articles because they were all in support of it, which was kind of interesting, until I got to one that supported reasons to not. But it's very valid. It's your child, and you could be just concerned. So let's go through some of those. There's 2 I wanted to share. One was, so many vaccinations so soon will overwhelm a baby's immune system. And the counter argument with that was that it's what's in them that matters, and the antigens in them today are a fraction of what they used to be when our parents received vaccinations. And not to mention that they cover almost twice as many preventable diseases. The second one was that children's immune systems are too immature, and it may be safer to delay some shots. And the counterargument for that was that delaying some shots will lead to prolonged periods of susceptibility to these dangerous diseases, as well as with some of the vaccinations, like the MMR, delaying this even up to 3 months could lead to seizures. The side effects from actually getting these preventable diseases way outweigh the risk that come from getting the shot. In conclusion, please remember that by vaccinating your child, you will protect them from preventable diseases that could possibly end their life. By vaccinating your child, you are helping to protect those that cannot be vaccinated themselves. And the pros of vaccinating way outweigh the cons. I plead with you to help end these life-taking diseases by standing up for vaccinations today. If you begin to think that the diseases are gone and that we no longer need to be vaccinated, they may come back. And we have already seen examples of this with measles. Let's not become complacent. If you or your children are not yet vaccinated, take the steps to do so today. Thank you.